Hey, it's Nicole, and welcome to the Studio Nicole podcast. Before we get into this incredible episode, I just wanted to send a huge thank you to this community. Thank you for listening, for sharing my episodes. I love that you have joined me on this journey. I started this podcast because I love connecting with people. I love hearing those stories of why people do what they do. At its core, this show is about taking the leap and learning as you go. It's a celebration of creativity, resilience, and of course, connection. I don't know about you, but I feel so much inspiration listening to people's stories. So thank you for taking the time for yourself to listen to this podcast.
Perfect.
All right, so welcome to Studio Nicole podcast. I am super happy to be back. I had a little break, I guess you can say. I wanted to start the podcast back in September, but things were booming for Studio Nicole, and I always feel like my clients come first.
Absolutely.
And so here we are.
So exciting.
November, new studio. This is my first episode in this gorgeous studio.
And congratulations.
Thanks so much.
So happy for you. I love it.
And so today, as you can see, we have Ingrid Johansson. Is that pronounced correctly?
It's Johansson.
Johansson.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everybody says Johansson. That's how it's spelled.
Ingrid Johansson. Johansson. There we go. So Ingrid has been an esthetician, which I'm surprised I could pronounce that. I usually can't. Esthetician for 20 plus years. You have been in the event decor industry, designing things for about 7 years.
Yes.
Okay. And you are also the founder of The Blooming Trade.
Yeah.
I was like, The Blooming.
Let me check them out. Lots of people say tree. So I'm like, that's good too.
Yeah. So you wear lots of glorious hats, lots of fashionable hats. Which one right now in your life is playing like the biggest role?
I would say The Blooming Trade.
Okay. So tell me about that. Describe, first of all, who don't know, what is The Blooming Trade?
So it's basically, I am a reseller of vintage or secondhand clothing. I try to stick to vintage, but sometimes if I see like a really unique piece, then I will get it if it's not vintage. Although it's kind of sad to think that my high school clothes are all vintage because it's 20 plus years. So I see all of those come back, and lots of the resellers do like the Y2K.
Yeah.
And so I've just started getting some of that because it's a little bit traumatizing to be like, oh.
I saw a girl walking around I saw a lady walking around with butterfly clips, and I was like, oh, like she was 18, 20 maybe.
Yes.
And I was like, what? I'm like, why is she? I wore those in grade 5.
Yes. Yeah, I wore those in high school.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Butterfly clips.
Yeah, they're great. I was like, I actually love those. I said to my sister the other day, I'm like, I got to find me some butterfly clips.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Y2K fashion now being vintage?
I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I love... Yeah. I think I love that, like right now, basically anything goes.
Yeah.
People can wear whatever they want, whatever they feel comfortable in. Y2K is not for my body type. So I'm happy to see lots of other people being able to wear it.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And it brings back a lot of like nostalgic memories from high school. So I think it's awesome.
And when you say body type, you mean like you don't like the skinny low-rise jeans?
No.
Is that what you're saying? I hate the skinny rise.
I hate
jeans.
low-rise. Low-rise, no.
As soon as like the high-rise came out, I was like, oh yes. I'm like, this is perfect timing.
I know.
This is just the time I need.
And
some
they're so
high-rise
comfortable.
Jeans. Yeah.
I don't think I could ever like go back, and my waist and my lower body are not proportionate enough for it. So
you look good.
Oh, thanks.
But high-rise jeans, that's where it's at.
Love them.
And I also, when I was going through your collection, I feel like the last market I've been to where you were at, was that a year ago or 2 years? I feel like it was a year.
Yeah, that'd be about a year ago.
The hippie thrift one. And I honestly felt like a majority of the items I loved. Like
that makes me happy.
The person I was with, she bought like this sheep covered wool sweater, which I kind of wish I bought that one. And I bought this jacket, and there was just a lot of unique items. And like you said, even if it's not like vintage, it's just kind of unique. And we're going to kind of get more into like your thrifting style and all that. But let's go back to like how this all began.
I've always loved thrifting, and I am the youngest in my family. And so I always kind of just got hand-me-downs all the time,
Okay,
and
yeah.
which I didn't mind, but I said like I never actually get to like go shopping, and we would just be very like practical of like the money we're spending and
Yeah.
everything. So then my dad's sister, she had said like, well, why don't we, she's like, I'll take you thrifting. She's like, you can get all of your own clothes.
Perfect.
And she's like, you can take your whole piggy bank. Back then it was like a skirt for 25 cents. So she took me down when I was visiting my dad and my ave. And so we went thrifting in this little small town thrift store, and I absolutely loved it. And that's kind of how I got into it. And I would like buy all of my family's gifts and stuff like that. And so then...
So what age were you when you started?
When I started thrifting,
Yeah.
I would have been 6.
Oh, 6. Love it. Yeah.
Yes. And then, so I would say probably I still did it all through high school. And then in my like 20s, you kind of get caught up in everything else of wanting to have all the new fancy...
The pencil skirts.
Yeah. All the new like trendy things.
Long live the pencil skirt.
Yes. And it's kind of like too, like the more money you spend, then it was kind of like, I don't know the right word for it. The more money you spend, like the better off it was or something.
Yeah.
And so you get caught up in all of that and like the keeping up with the Joneses. And then my aunt actually passed away suddenly. And so that was pretty difficult. And she was always like the positive one in the family. And so to kind of like get back to feeling close to her, I was like, I'm going to go thrifting. And so then it just kind of spiraled into that. And then there's lots of people on Instagram and stuff that I started following and saw that they were like reselling. This is down in the States. And so then I thought, well, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
So, and I started doing that, and it took off from there.
Perfect. And then so like you mentioned kind of like it was a kind of a way to feel closer to your aunts. And I was kind of scrolling through your gram recently doing my research on you. And first of all, your photos are awesome.
Oh, thank you. My sister does them.
Okay, very nice. And second of all, I also noticed that pretty much every post, like it's like a themed, a themed shoot or whatever, a themed shoot. And but you also start with song lyrics.
Yes.
And which I thought was awesome. But also the song lyrics are tied to the outfit, which is tied to like a personal experience. Is that kind of what thrifting and fashion is to you?
Yeah, it's like a healing process.
Okay. When did you start? When did you kind of figure out, or what was the moment you realized that this is a healing process for you?
Well, I guess like it depends on like certain things. So through COVID, when everybody was depressed and locked up, a lot of people in the States that I follow that were doing like thrifting and everything, they started doing these like different themes of where you have to put together like a thrifted outfit from your closet. And it just became like really fun. And it was a healing sense of like being at home and not being able to be in the real world. And then I would say probably like 4 years ago, my life kind of flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And then
What happened?
I was engaged, and then that broke up. Just it was very like I was blindsided and just out of the blue, was not expecting it. And so so then I just kind of got into a deep depression, and I find music very, very healing. And so then when I would be like walking or running outside or with my dog, then all of a sudden like the music would kind of spark like, oh, this would be like a really cool like outfit for this song.
Interesting.
And then I go on Pinterest. I love Pinterest.
Yeah.
And then use that inspiration to like go to the thrift store and try to find something to put together. And then my sister would shoot my photos.
Yeah.
And it just was, very healing for me for some reason.
So that's a very interesting creative process. So I imagine in my head that somebody would just wander to the thrift store and kind of see what they see what they find. I'm sure that happens as well. But for you, it was like triggered by an experience and then a song, and then you look for those items.
Yeah.
Is that how you usually do it, or?
I guess, yeah. Because I, like I said, like I love going on Pinterest, and then I see things, I get inspired, whether it's by like high fashion or something homemade. Because I do that too with like my reworks, and I will start going down like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then I start pinning all those things. And then I go to the thrift store and the items just kind of come to me.
They flow.
Yeah.
The universe sends them to you.
I'm manifesting them.
And so you mentioned rework. So that
Yes.
means...
So I have been taking sewing lessons with my high school home ec teacher.
Brilliant. I love that.
And so I had reached out to her and just had said, like, I have lots of ideas like on Pinterest where you see like really cool, like almost like tapestry blazers. Or the first thing that I wanted to make was a house coat out of like a chenille blanket, because my grandparents used to have those in their house. And I was like, that would be actually like really cozy.
Yeah.
And so then I had said to her, like, how do you feel about doing something like this? Like, it's not actual, like going and buying the fabric and then that kind of thing. And she said, absolutely. So went up to her house and our brains together just really mesh. And so I tell her my idea, and then she can look at the fabric and say like, what's going to work, what's not going to work. And then we just start cutting and start sewing. And so, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like this is we're flashing back now to your home ec, your high school home ec teacher. Now, did you take home ec throughout high school?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you were thrifting in high school, did you also rework things?
No, I did not.
Were you like a sewer in high school?
Not really, but I would often try to do it just by like hand sewing, because I didn't have a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And so, like, do you remember the teddy bear backpacks? Like, that was probably...
Was it shaped? I feel like we're similar age.
No.
How old are you?
I'm 41.
41? I'm 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they were like the little like teddy bear backpacks, and they had like the zipper on the top.
I feel like I have a vague memory. I remember the tiny backpacks.
Okay.
Come to think of it, I just had a memory where I was desperate to have one of those tiny leather backpacks. That was popular.
So cool. Yeah.
And I think my parents wouldn't buy it for me. And I'm actually not an avid thrifter. I feel like I don't have the patience maybe, but I thrifted that at like the local Nipawa, Sally Ann's. That's a vague memory. Yeah.
I love that.
I remember the leather was kind of peeling like there's like some sticky bits. But I'm like, whatever, I have the leather backpack. But okay, where were we? We were in
with my
ec,
sewing.
Right? Okay, yes.
And doing reworks. So they weren't really like reworks. It was the same idea. Like my parents would not, they're like, no, that's not a smart purchase. And I would be like, but I really want it. So I do remember like making a teddy bear backpack out of one of my own teddy bears, which to this day I still feel kind of guilty, because I like cut its head open and like took all the stuffing out. Yeah. Put a zipper on. It was not good by any means, because it was hand sewn.
So is that kind of like your first earliest memory of like designing your own clothes, making your own clothes or accessories?
Probably, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get like made fun of in high school for thrifting or anything, or?
Yes and no.
Or you pulled it off, or
certain people for sure. And then you have like your people, and then they would want to come thrifting with me. So we would go into like Winnipeg and stay with my aunt, and she would take us to Valley Village, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I definitely got made fun of.
Yeah. No doubt. Kids are mean, you guys.
Yes, they are. They're so mean. And if you don't have like the name brand stuff, or you can't like afford it, like you would even get made fun of for having like stuff from San.
Oh, San.
Remember San?
I remember San. Nipawa had it.
They had a San.
Love that San store. Okay, so this pretty much, so you've been thrifting pretty much your whole life then? Incredible. And like reworking your stuff. Actually, this flashback to myself being younger. I never thrifted that often, but I would sometimes alter my clothes. But instead of learning how to sew, because maybe I didn't have the patience for it, I would use staples.
Or do you remember that like glue? The like no-sew glue? I feel like I hemmed my friend's pants with that like no-sew glue. Yeah. And I was like, you just get crafty. Yeah. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, I'm crafty. I should have learned to sew maybe, but can't do that.
Staples work.
Okay, so you've been thrifting your whole life. And then it was kind of during COVID where you started to like, okay, maybe I can sell this. Do you remember the moment where you just went from thrifting for yourself to like, let's start the blooming trade? Tell me the story of that.
Well, it was always kind of like in the back of my mind. And then I remember being on Instagram and seeing this one girl who lives in California. She's a stylist. And she was reworking like a bunch of vintage dresses that I essentially just had in my basement and making them like into 2 pieces, or like just making them shorter so they were more modern, and then reselling them at something called Pickwick Vintage Market, or like it's really cool, like just the pictures. I've never been, but just like the pictures. And I was like, I could do that. And so so then through COVID is when I kind of started thrifting other pieces that I thought would be really cool, made into like 2-piece or get it shorter, like take the sleeves up or anything, and just to make it more modern. And so it would have been that moment probably when I saw the exact same dress that I had in my basement. And I was like, I could do that.
Perfect.
I don't know how to sew, but I could do that.
So then you had the epiphany moment, I can do that. And then when did you start like publicly like, hey, I'm doing this? What was that like?
Well, I started my page and I was just hoping to try and get like some followers and stuff on Instagram. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do it. And then actually my cousin, she reached out to me from the Interlake, and she used to run like a flea market. And so she said, do you want to have a booth here like all summer? And then her and her sister would kind of like work it for me. And so I took everything out to Gimli, and I had my stuff there for that entire year, or that entire summer for that year. And then was going to start like looking at different markets and stuff. And then that's when my life kind of went on hold.
Yes.
And then, I decided to take a break from all of that. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to continue doing the blooming trade. And I just started using my page, like I said, as more of like a healing process, and doing the thrifted outfits and just working it for myself. And then eventually, hopefully doing like story sales and everything. But the story sales. So like on Instagram, when people will...
stories.
Yeah.
What is this thing you call stories? Yes.
I've never heard of it.
Sales in your stories. I got it.
Yeah. So, because that's what... So there was a girl who started. She is... 2 of my close friends, it's their cousin. And they had told me like, you should follow her on Instagram because she's kind of doing like what you would want to do. And she was in Brandon here. And so I started following her, and she was doing story sales because it still wasn't a time of where we could all be together in public.
Right.
So
still during COVID times.
Yeah. But I was also thinking like, I don't have enough followers really to do story sales.
Yeah.
And so, I was just kind of like, I'll just put it on the back burner for now.
Yeah.
And then I got together with Lee, who has Luxe Thrift, and then with Shay from Hippie Thrift.
Yeah.
And I had told them like, I don't think I'm going to like do anything or continue with this. And then they convinced me that I should, because markets were becoming more and more popular. And they had done some markets in Winnipeg, and they had said like, there's a huge market for it. Like, don't give up. And then
support from the friends.
Yeah.
And nice.
And then, Shay gave me an opportunity to go into her market.
Good.
And it took off from there.
Perfect. How did you come up with a name?
Oh, it took a long time. Because I still wanted to be able...
I call myself the Studio Nicole podcast.
And I still sometimes I'm like, should I change my name? But then I was like, no, because it has meaning behind it.
Okay.
And so I just did like lots of research of trying to think of like what I could do, because I also wanted to incorporate my aesthetics. And so it's a trade. And so then also too, like a trade is basically something that you kind of specialize in, or like a craft, or so I said like that works for both thrifting and for aesthetics. And then blooming is basically like a flower is blooming and not comparing itself to anybody else, and you have your own individual style and your own likes.
Love that.
Thank you.
That's very cool.
And then actually my friend from nursery school, she created my logo for me.
Okay.
And it was from a flower of a picture that I had in my house that my aunt always loved. And so I sent her that picture, and then she just picked the peony out of it and created my logo.
Very cool. You started posting online. You started kind of going to some markets, and then like you said, you stopped for a while because of what happened. And then through like friends' encouragements, you got back in the market scene. So then was there like a moment where you're like, okay, this is actually going to stick?
I think it would have been when I did, I got into Maryland Street Festival in Winnipeg.
Okay.
And all the girls were talking about how they would get into like Lucky Girl. So I applied for about a year and a half, and I would always get like waitlisted.
Okay.
And then I do think...
I never knew there was like a rejection
I know.
process.
Well, people are like, what do you mean you apply? So you actually, to get
Yeah.
into all these markets, whether it's like a maker's market, a reseller's market, you have to fill out like an application form, and they review it. They have so many, like, there's so much talent. Like that's
true. Yeah.
probably the biggest thing that I love about doing the markets is there's so much talent out there, and to see everybody's like craft and their passion. So people, like 300 people apply to a market that only has like 100 spots.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's
So
incredible.
yeah. The Maryland Street Festival would have been the first Winnipeg market that I got into. And I do feel like Shay probably had a little bit.
Oh yeah.
She was like,
our girl Shay.
love her. So she's always been like rooting for me, and she was like, just apply. And I was like, I'm always waitlisted. And she's like, no, honestly, like this one is it was just for resellers. So then it was like a smaller amount of people that would be applying.
Right.
And then I got in, and I just had like so many compliments, and it was really good. And it was a great experience. And then just meeting everybody, like everybody's so encouraging, and they're so uplifting, and it's just a really great community.
So you've been doing it since you kind of got back into it. That's been 4 years, right?
That I've been doing it?
Yeah.
No, only for 2.
2 years. Okay, it's pretty fresh then.
Yeah.
2 years.
I took 2 years of not doing it and just kind of doing my pictures and
like doing it kind of just for yourself, not selling.
Just healing.
Yeah.
Because you can't do things when you're not.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
When your mind's not there.
I feel like even as a creative person, whenever I'm like sad or whatever, and I'm like, I really got to edit this video, but I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes like I can edit photos.
Yes.
If it's just,
certain
whatever
things, right?
Yeah, but I feel like if I'm sad or depressed and I have this video to edit, I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like I need to wait till I'm in a better headspace. And so like, what is it about, like going back to talking about your healing, what is it about like the fashion and the designing of clothes that was so healing for you?
I think it's more so just about using my mind and focusing on something else. And then that sense of like accomplishment of like, say I see a picture on Pinterest and I can basically thrift every single piece from it. And then you just have that sense of accomplishment and like you did that yourself. And it's just, I don't know how to explain it.
Honestly, I think you nailed it. That's huge. Just focusing on something else. Because I for one, when I'm depressed or sad or whatever, that's the only thing I think about, and I just dive into a hole as things. But just the focusing on something else and that sense of accomplishment, I think
And I also just taking something like even craft wise, and so I had all this stuff from my wedding that didn't happen.
Oh God!
And so then I just started to another healing process was just taking stuff like all the florals and everything and then recreating stuff. So like either like making a wreath or made like a floral headdress, and my friend did a photo shoot for me.
I feel like I saw that photo shoot online. Yeah. Wow. And that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was so beautiful.
And it's hard, but then afterwards you feel like, okay, I can do this.
I feel like I'm going to cry for something. As I'm laughing, but that's what I do. I laugh and I cry at the same time. My boyfriend Alex is like, I don't know if you're gonna laugh or you're gonna cry. I'm like, who knows, man?
Is this a bad cry? Is this a happy cry?
I recently was at your fashion show. Yes. And that was the first time you've done that?
Well, I did one in the spring.
Okay.
And it was a lot smaller.
Okay.
And it was at like Kaylee Knowles' studio.
Okay, yes.
So we had 24 people, I think. And then lots of people were showing interest and saying that they wanted to come. And so then we were going to do it there in the fall. But I had like 40 some people reach out saying that
you're growing.
So
you're growing. You have a big space.
So then I actually did it in Rivers, and we had said like, we've never really do anything in our hometown.
Yeah.
And so, and also too, it it was a lot easier to make 5 trips in Rivers
Yep.
than it is to come to Brandon.
So I was at the Rivers fashion show, and I dare say I didn't know what to expect. I kind of thought, you ladies would walk around a bit and then we'd like eat or something. I wasn't sure. And it blew my expectations.
Well, that
I
makes
have to
me
say
happy.
it blew my expectations. We went there, my friend Natty and I, Natty. And yeah, we went there and she had, at first when I heard it was going to be in like a community hall, I actually forgot what the Rivers one looks like. And so I imagined like a Legion, But honestly, this room, just an ordinary room, I guess, but you transformed it. You had like your decor, I don't know the decor terms, you had different decor stuff going on, like the lamps from the ceiling and all your rugs, which I wanted to buy. I was like, it's the orange rug for sale. I think that'd be good for my little podcast.
Yeah.
And anyways, and then so it was incredible because what do you call like each section?
I know. I was like, I
don't know what you
was
call
calling
that.
them categories, but I don't even know if that's the right thing.
So essentially you had how many categories?
I had 7 categories.
Themes?
Yeah, themes.
Yeah, 7?
Yes.
Which was incredible. So every like category would be like a different theme of outfits. I remember the one was like I love the show. That's why I remember it. Emily in Paris.
Yes.
Love it. And then you had like a cowgirl.
Boho cowgirl.
Boho cowgirl.
Yeah.
What was the one more?
Okay, so
like
there
a
was
beachy one.
Emily in Paris, and then there was Hot Holiday, and then Athleisure, and then Florence and the Machine.
Oh.
And then there was Fisherman Cottagecore, and Fall Chic, and then Boho Cowgirl.
Love it. And then I was blown away because you do like the theme. They would walk. How many outfits?
There would have been
ladies were there?
56 outfits altogether. So 8 models.
8 models. Okay. And then they walked. And then we brought out the mocktails, which I love mocktails because I don't drink. And and every category, I'm losing my mind now. Losing focus. Every category. Between you would have Mary Park.
Yes.
Right? Mary Park. Oh, I remembered her name. Awesome.
Yeah.
Mary Park. She would come serve her mocktails.
Yes.
And yeah, I loved it. I really had to go to the bathroom.
I know.
But it was awesome. And so we'd be drinking all these like 8.
I think, there would have been,
if there was
7.
There were 7 drinks. Yeah. And it was just like a total experience. And just like you said, like even Brandon, not let alone small towns, don't have enough of those kind of cool events. Because I'm from a small town, Kenton and then Nipois. And and I just feel like there's so much talent in these towns and Brandon. And so it's very cool. I almost wish I kind of wore a nicer outfit. I was like, oh, I should be chiking it up or something.
Just be comfortable.
But it was awesome. It was so good. It was so good. What first gave you the idea to have a fashion show?
I think when people think of like thrifting and stuff, they don't see like what you can do with it or like how it could be like modern as opposed to you see these like vintage pieces and it just looks old and how much you can actually do with like thrifted items. So I'm a visual person. And so I was like, why don't we do like a fashion show so that we can like show people like what you can do with thrifted clothes and fashion and accessories. And so when Jackie and I, who owns like Lux Premier Events, when we're driving to weddings, then I'm always throwing out ideas at her, whether it's for like a dinner party or I was like, so I was thinking about doing like a fashion show. And I was like, this is my idea. She's like, let's do it. And I was like, okay. And so I just give her like my ideas, my themes. I like send her stuff on Pinterest and then she does all the floral work for it.
Nice.
And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Nice. And I was like, it's just a different fun night out. Yeah. And I love putting together outfits, even though most of the time I look like I just rolled out of bed.
You don't do it for yourself, but for others, you're good.
I just like to wear my sweats all the time.
Yeah. Well, sweats are good.
Yeah.
But like, I also like putting together those outfits. Some of them were pretty like out there,
Yes.
I guess, to sound like my grandma.
No, for sure. Especially like,
But they all worked, obviously.
right.
But they all worked. And even myself, I actually do have a thrifted skirt from you. And I don't know what to wear with it. I should have brought it. Like, do I put a white tee with that?
Right.
You know, like that's all I got. But yeah, so like just seeing it all put together.
Mhm.
And then even after you kind of sell the outfits as a unit, I think if you want, you had
If
some
you
like
wanted to,
hangers together.
that part has to be like worked out because
Oh.
typically like the last one was a little bit easier for that part because
Yeah.
she had like Kaylee has like 2 change rooms
Okay.
and then
Nice.
like the
yeah.
racks were there and then the girls would just put their clothes on there afterwards.
Mhm.
And so it's like honestly so rushed and chaotic with the girls changing. And so we just like threw them on the hangers. So I
Right.
said, next time I need to have somebody, I need an assistant.
Oh, yes.
And-
Assistant.
who can like put the clothes back on like separate hangers
Yeah.
so that you can
Yeah.
like buy it. And then I also said I would probably do more of like curated racks to kind of go with like each theme.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
people could shop it that way. Cause I do still have lots of stuff that when I'm going through the thrift store, I was like, that would be really good for like boho cowgirl,
Yeah.
but I didn't necessarily use it. And so it could just be an item on the rack. So yeah.
Do you have a website?
No.
Okay.
But I would really like to
Yeah.
get one.
Is that something like how do you see blooming trade growing?
Like my
Do
big
you
dream.
want it to grow? It doesn't have
Of
to.
course.
You know,
I do want it to grow.
What is your big dream?
My big dream is to actually like have like an Anthropologie style store
Oh, yeah.
or a website
Yeah.
that is all secondhand, thrifted, or like reworks. Like tomorrow I have sewing lessons and I'm going to make my stockings out of like an old like 60s bedspread that is like a tapestry and then have like the fringe at the top.
Nice.
And I see things like that like on Anthropologie and I just, I love it.
That's incredible.
But
Do you think do you have like your next steps for going forward?
not necessarily.
Yeah. Or just kind of like day by day. What's your
Yes.
kind of process for like?
I would like to eventually get more of like, well, I'm calling them new blooms instead of reworks.
I like that. On brand.
Yes. It took me a while to think of that because I was like, do I want to do like a rebloom or do I want to do like a new bloom? But then I thought flowers, they don't really like rebloom.
Right.
They grow a new bloom. So I thought I would do a new bloom.
Yeah.
So I'd like to take more of those to like the markets and stuff and see how that goes over.
So what were the new blooms again? That's your reworks.
Yes.
Like that's the okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I had like new blooms.
Yeah.
My programs didn't get done for the fashion show. So it had like all of that in the program. When the girl went to go pick them up, they weren't printed properly.
Damn them.
Yes. But so each category actually had like new blooms in them. And so it would have like described it more and stuff. And even to the point of with the athleisure, I had done like vintage tennis rackets and had like done yarn work on it.
Yeah,
So
those are really good. Well, I saw one thing that you're doing a lot is the
coats?
coat jacket, like the blanket jackets.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's very, honestly, I think those new blooms, the rework, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll see if they kind of like take off with markets. And then I think my next step would be like a website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But I feel like you kind of have to get your like following first and then get your name out there.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of my next step, I guess.
But I guess as you work on your website, like, I feel like then you're ready, you know, because you never know when you're going to blow up.
No.
There was always this, I read a book by like Chris Hadfield. You know, the astronaut.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm all about like the self-help books. Like, I don't recognize that.
Honestly, I read this book a long time ago, so it's a little vague in my memory. But I remember he always said, I'm going to screw it up, but something about just do it just in case. And he meant like, don't do it, like you have to want to do it, but do it just in case. And his example was he was invited to an Elton John concert. And, you know, he's a well-known astronaut and he likes to play the guitar. So he thought in his head, there might be a slight chance he'll be called on stage to sing Rocket Man. And so he said, I'm getting somewhere, don't worry.
No, I just think that's like,
so yeah. And
that
so,
would not be my thought process.
Yeah. And so he said, because he's kind of famous at this point anyways. So he said, he's gonna, because he loves guitar, and he's gonna learn to play Rocket Man on the guitar. because he said how embarrassing would it be if he got on stage and he couldn't play Rocket Man. And so he did it just in case. And so he played it, and like he practiced it, sorry. And then come to the Elton John concert, he actually did not get called up on stage. But he said it still made him happy. It still like learned
Right.
those skills. And it was a just in case thing.
Yeah.
And I always felt that way. I always think of that because even myself, I forget what it was, but I used to, people would ask me, like, when I was just kind of starting in this new career path, people would ask me, like, I would tell them, like, oh, yes, I do podcasts. But then they'd ask, like, oh, well, where is it? But then if I didn't have it, like, oh, well, I guess I'm not. Like, so I remember just started doing the podcast, even though I had no big following.
Right.
I just kind of did it.
Yeah.
And
But they always say you should just start.
Yeah, just start, be perfect. And so I'm looking forward to you being the next Anthropologie. Do I make sense there? Unless I ramble, but
Rambling's good.
I remember, I got to think back because it wasn't even the podcast. It was this other thing where I had started it and I just kind of did it. And then I was at this networking event. This is a long time ago. So like a student. And then I actually could be like, actually, yeah, I do that. Right. Even though I hadn't even really advertised it, but I just felt like, okay, Chris was right. Yeah. It's a great book. I forget which one it was, but. So throughout all of this, what has surprised you the most about this journey of the blooming trade?
I think like the connections and the supportive community and just like meeting people who kind of like have your back or like rooting for you. Especially I've made lots of like connections in Winnipeg and stuff, and we all do the same thing, but we are all supporting each other and trying to like collaborate with each other or like just see each other succeed and be like happy and content. And I just love it.
What is the biggest surprise you've seen in yourself?
So I'm a very shy, anxious person. And so each one of the markets that I do is actually like a challenge for me, and I have to talk myself through it. And I've been doing them mostly, like my sister will come to some of them, but like I'm doing all this on my own. Yeah. And so I'm somebody who like once I've done something with somebody, I can go and like do it on my own. Mm-hmm. But so this has been like a huge out of my comfort zone, the whole thing, like posting pictures on Instagram, everything. So, that has surprised me that I'm just doing it. Yeah. Because I will find every excuse not to. Yeah. You just got to do it. And when you're kind of finding those excuses in your brain to like not do it, what is it that pushes you forward? Like, what is your why? Why do you do it? I think to prove to myself that I can do it. And I've always been somebody who puts others before me or is worried about what others think or just like making somebody else happy and filling their cup instead of filling my cup. And so finally I was like, I'm on my own. I was like, I have nobody to like make happy or be their upper and I can just do it for myself. That's awesome. I love it. I love what you're doing. Thanks. I love what you're doing. Thank you. So I feel like you have had such a journey to kind of get you to like this blooming trade and to have all these goals. So is there something that you would like to tell, if you could tell your 16-year-old self something, what would it be? It could be advice or just to tell them something. It would be to not be afraid and just go for it and not listen to everybody else or think that you have to like graduate, go to university, then get married and then have kids. Like sometimes it doesn't work that way. Yeah. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way because I think the universe, when you're not meant to be in something and you stay like loyal and you just think like, nope, I got to stick this out. And then if it doesn't want you to, it will crash and burn you. And then you just got to rise up from the ashes and try to figure it all out again until you're on the right path. And I probably should have done that. But You live and you learn.
Live and you learn, and your experiences make you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. I remember thinking about that question. Honestly, there's so many things you could tell yourself.
Yes.
But I remember this is like a little bit more on the funnier topic. But I remember thinking about that. I think it's because I was like listening to my nieces talk or whatever. And I remember thinking back to when I was like in grade 5, 6. And I'm like, I wish I spent less time thinking about boys.
Well, essentially kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I followed my like high school. I didn't follow him, but I was like, I still like, I want to be with him. And you have that fear of like going off onto your own. Or so I took my aesthetic. I love my aesthetics. I do.
Yes.
But I took like the shortest course and was like, so that I could come back here so that we weren't apart anymore. And I just sometimes think you should just follow what's right for you.
Yeah. Take the moment to think about what you really want.
And what's meant for you is never going to pass you by. So whether you are with somebody and you guys split up for a while, if you're meant to be together, your paths are going to cross again.
Yeah. But awesome. Thanks so much, Ingrid, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'll keep an eye out for your next market. And that's the end of the episode. Thanks again for hanging out with me. And last thing, if you have a second, feel free to follow me on Spotify and Instagram. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.